we saw the awards that went to the certain players. So we had Martinez, Golden Glove, of course Mbappe, Golden Boots, Messi, best player of the tournament. I believe Enzo Fernandez was the young player of the tournament.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm
it
sure
was the
you
longest award ceremony known to man. And I felt sorry for France having to sit there through everything before they got their silver medals. Like, just give them their medals and then do all the winners afterwards. It was ridiculous.
No, they had to get everything. They had to get everything out as soon as possible. But I'm sure you guys have your best 11 that you've seen from the World Cup, especially with people saying people like the Croatian goalkeeper was the best. So I will start with you, Big Dunc, in terms of your best 11 and, of course, your player of the tournament, if you disagree with Messi being the player of the tournament.
Right, my best 11. Okay, so I've gone for a formation. I've got it into a formation. Although there aren't many good left backs, but got it into a formation. I tried to represent countries that did well at the World Cup as well. So
you mean you haven't got Hernandez as your left back?
Surprisingly, not. No. Yeah, I'm going through the list. Hernandez, Luke Shaw. I kept my search going on after that one. Right. Okay. We'll start from the back then. I think we mentioned him earlier. I'm going for Livakovic in the sticks. 2 penalty shootouts where he played the hero, made some good saves, and he made a lot of good saves during the game. He plays for Dynamo Zagreb, so I'd be amazed if someone doesn't come in for him in like January or the summer and picks him up, because he had a really good tournament. So he's the keeper. So right back, I'm going for Hakimi of Morocco. So obviously a top player, plays for PSG. Morocco had a great tournament. Obviously they came a bit unstuck in the last 2 games they played, but like the teams they played and didn't concede against, like Portugal, Belgium, Croatia, Spain, like that's mad. Like, so their defense was right up there as one of the best in the tournament, and it was just a shame they couldn't keep it going in the last couple of games. So I've got Hakimi, and next to him I've got El Yamik as well from Morocco. So again, like, I think that was one of the best defenses in the tournament, so I'm going to throw 2 players from them in there. Next centre back, I've gone for Varane. So I think Varane had a really good tournament, and definitely one of the French defenders deserved to be in there. He played most of the games in the tournament, and again, like you said, in the final, played till he like was dropping off dead nearly. So the man put in a shift today. So he's the centre back. So left back, like I said, there weren't a lot of standouts. So I'm going to throw in Acuna there. So again, he was the first choice for Argentina for most of the tournament. Presents a good attacking threat as well as some solid defending there. So those are my back 4. So midfield, I've got three midfielders here. So as a holding midfielder, I've gone for Brozovic. I think the man was breaking. We were talking about Messi. Brozovic was breaking records for the most distance run. It was something like 16.5 kilometers in one of the games. So the man's a machine. Puts in the shift. I think you'd be happy to have him as your CDM in your team. So the other midfielders, I've got Bellingham. I think Bellingham had a fantastic breakout tournament for him. Definitely one of the best CMs at the whole tournament. I think, again, most countries or clubs would like to have him in their team. There's going to be a serious battle for his signature over the coming months see where he goes. On the right side, then, I've got Saka. I think Saka deserves to be there. Again, had a fantastic...
Say it loud and clear so Mr. Hinder can hear, please.
Saka. Well, yeah. Neil has to take the credit. He wouldn't be in this team of the tournament if Neil hadn't kicked him up the arse all this season, telling him what he needed to do. Takes
a big man to take that credit for someone else. I've said it before, time and time again.
I've got Saka in my team of the tournament, and Neil has to take credit for that. So adding goals into the mix, but he was a real serious threat in the games he played in. Playing our best player against France as well. So those are my 3 midfielders. In front of them, I'm going to lob Messi. So I'm going to put Messi as the cam. He can just, walk around there as the cam. Obviously, the actual player of the tournament and 7 goals, I don't know what these lads have done, but I think you'd have to be mad to be leaving Messi out of the team. Then I've gone for 2 strikers. The other one you're going to be mad to leave out is Mbappe. Again, 8 goals, cracking player, doing it on the world stage for 2 World Cups in a row now. And then next to him, I've actually gone for Alvarez of Argentina. again, like a breakout tournament, 4 goals, and he was really instrumental to the way they played. And Neil said, like, Argentina did the running for Messi. He's one of the players that did some of the running.
I'm sure he was
like the other
eligible
attacker.
to win Young Player of the tournament.
Say again, Jay?
I'm sure he's eligible to win Young Player of the tournament. I was surprised I actually gave it to Enzo Fernandez.
I'm sure he was. Yeah.
I mean, he had a cracking World Cup. But anyway,
he did. Yeah. So those would be mine. And again, when you're coming down to player of the tournament, you would have been watching a different tournament if you weren't choosing between Messi and Mbappe. And Messi got it over the line at the end. So I think as the winner, I would agree with the decision to give Messi player of the tournament.
All right, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Big Dunc giving you his 11 from the Qatar 2022 World Cup. The angry one.
All right, mine's a little bit different, but not massively. So I'm going Emi Martinez in goal. He was outstanding, made some big saves, especially in the final and beforehand. And he was a master of shithousery, which I love from any player, really, to be honest, when you want to win stuff. Hakimi, a right back. I'd go Sass, if that's how you pronounce his name. Sass? I can't know how to pronounce it, from Morocco. To be fair, you could pick anybody in the Moroccan back line. The Croatian geezer with the looks like Batman, looks like Phantom of the
Guardiola.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, he was top. The left backs were a pretty toss pot, to be honest. But I went with Acuna just because he got it over the line. Not that he started every game. In the middle of the park, I'm going with Ambarat. He was all singing, all dancing, midfielder, fantastic. Then you could have said Tchouameni, but I'm going to go with Bellingham for the because he was standout as well. He just didn't go as far as Tchouameni, but I think he probably played better on balance. Just didn't go as far. Then behind, then you've got Messi, you've got Griezmann, you've got Mbappe. Those three behind the striker of Alvarez, because the
Griezmann showed some diversity in his game this tournament. Playing that CM, he was apart from today he didn't really, he wasn't, or the World Cup final, he wasn't really instrumental, but I think the tournament he showed that he's diversifying his game.
You could see him. Some of the stats were that he had some of the most amazing defensive stats, which you don't really associate with Griezmann. He was tracking back, he was making tackles, what have you. So I'd put him in there. And Alvarez was just, like you say, 4 goals, but he's running non-stop. That goal against, was it Croatia? I mean, that was just pure tenacity. He just kept running. He didn't give up. Got a few lucky bobbles, but if you don't try, it doesn't happen. So, yeah, he was fantastic. So that's my best 11. And then player of the tournament, really, Messi's got 7 goals and 3 assists. Or might have more than that. At least 7 goals for sure, and at least 3 assists. It has to be him. Or Mbappe, but because he won it, you got to give it to him, really. You can't. I don't know who else you'd probably even think about other than those two. Neil probably pick somebody, probably Harry Kane, but anyway, let's see.
Okay, Mr. Hinder, your 11 from Qatar 2022.
Well, let's get some honourable mentions out of the way first.
No, Grealish.
Mason Mount, Sterling. Man, just sadness just pours down my heart when Mason Mount came on, and Sterling. Anyway, needless to say, 11. Mine are probably slightly different to these. There's obviously a lot of overlapping because it's impossible to miss out a couple of players. Croatian goalkeeper, number 1 for me. I think that Livakovic was decent, missing great saves. Croatia wouldn't have been the team without him. Hakimi in defence from Morocco. I mean, he's good on foot, but when you see him play in a World Cup and take that Morocco team and his pace, his commitment, and his desire was fantastic. I've also got Acuna as well from Argentina on the left, World Cup winner. To say anything else on that one.
Sorry, how bad? Left backs were not that terrible because they were losing teams.
It was better.
They were not that.
I'm not saying terrible.
JJ's going to give us a list of good left backs at the World Cup now. Ready? Here we go.
Go on.
No. Don't interrupt
Roberto
me.
Carlos was there.
Don't interrupt
Roberto Carlos was there. He was definitely one of the best left backs at the tournament, and he still didn't play. Centre backs, I've got Silva for Brazil. Man, his age is just but a number for him. There was a time I think Brazil were like 2.5, 3.5 up, and they continued to let him play. I'm like, just take him off. Let him go and have a bath. Let him have a rest. No, he's continuing to play. And I thought he was fantastic as as poor as Brazil were in certain areas. Vardiol from Croatia as well, my other centre back. I thought John Stones for England actually played really well for the tournament, and he was almost in there, but we got knocked out too early. Centre of the park, Bellingham. It's massive bias because I'm English, but man, what a standout breakout tournament he had, regardless of who he was from. He was the player that before the tournament that I didn't think that England had. That was that little bit of spark, that little bit of tenacity, somebody that wants to run with the ball, someone that looks like they're interested and can always do something, which was fantastic. Completely underestimated how good he is, and Sancho should take notice of how good a player can be. Musiala from Germany, I would pick as well in there. I know Germany went out early, but man, he was phenomenal. And those two, what a pair! They'd be in the centre of the park, especially if we're looking for a foot team. That's a decent pairing.
Noted.
My favourite player of the whole tournament was De Paul from Argentina. Like, really underrated, just a great work ethic. His passing was good, his tackling was good. It was just, you could just tell that he was in that for the whole team, and everything he did just oozed of team. It wasn't like he was trying to score one of the goals or anything else. He was just, for me, phenomenal. And that's the kind of player that I really like. Griezmann was really good apart from the final, where he was absolutely exactly as we thought he would play before the tournament started. But man, he had a great tournament until the final. So whether he was ill or what, I don't know. But yeah, he was phenomenal. His crossing was reminding me of Beckham-esque. Like, those crosses were beautiful. Like, Giroud barely had to move for his header against it. It was beautiful. And then up front, it was quite a hard one, really. You got Harry Kane, had a fantastic tournament. And just winding you up here, this was easy. Messi, again, he doesn't do the running, but what a fantastic player to have in your team. And if you work around players like that, you can have them in your team. And it shows that on the grandest stage of them all, I think Argentina almost played a 4-4-2. Old school, resolute, quality football with, again, a disservice to Messi, but kind of that Letizia Waddle-esque of just sauntering around the pitch, doing whatever they want to do. That used to happen so much in yesteryear of football, but it shows that it can still work now. And I thought that was fantastic. Kind of a throwback to older times, which, even like Baggio-esque, like, it was, he definitely is better than all of them, but like, the superlatives of just saying he just saunters around a pitch doesn't really do him justice of how well he actually played.
Just with the Waddle mention, like, I thought we might mention him like after that tournament, but not in comparison to Messi, like in comparison to Harry Kane's penalty.
Yeah, obviously. But I like to glide over that. And then imagine, like, Mbappe was fantastic, and he's not a player that I would have initially heaped a load of praise on. He's kind of like one of those ones all the 8 and 9-year-old kids go on about because he plays for PSG and they've got loads of money and everyone goes. But he had a really good tournament, and I think it was interesting to see how he played out of the shadows of his so-called teammates at PSG. And he definitely was today. France's, obviously, Lloris made a good save right near the end, but he was their standout player today. He dragged them from 80 minutes of near boredom. I think the fans had been bored of it, and even Argentina were bored of the game. They were just passing it around for fun for such a long period of time, and he dragged them through. And unfortunately, it wasn't quite enough. But yeah, he's got a lethal shot on him as well, and some fantastic footwork.
I think that's one point we were talking about Haaland earlier. That's one point where you can compare Mbappe and Haaland. Like, I remember, like, at one of the games earlier on in the season for Man City, where Haaland had like 5 touches, and I don't know if he scored once or twice or 3 times in that game. But same like Mbappe, like, he didn't do a lot against England. He did a bit more against Morocco, and he didn't do a lot against Argentina. But bang, like, goal. Like, he just turns up.
As soon as someone turned off, right, he was on. And I think that's kind of, I think Hakimi did a good job of tracking him for a lot of the game. But he played in different positions against Argentina. But he, again, needs that free roam almost of, you just need to go and do your stuff. Because he knows football. And I know that sounds really, really stupid. And there's so much into tactics and where they put people and what they do. when you've got people that are working around him, and even Griezmann before the tournament, no one thought he was going to play in the centre of the park. Like, no one would have gone that, but they wanted to play as a team, right?
That is testament to the champ, though, man. I think that is when you have a good manager that knows how to play. I think the difference that a lot of managers that would have the French team and still not know what to do with them, but playing Mbappe where he plays Mbappe, giving the Griezmann the freedom. I remember we had one of the episodes we were talking about, oh, he's playing too many strikers, but the Griezmann showed that, he can diversify his game. Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. The boys have given you their best 11 from Qatar 2022.
More things